Hi, everybody. It's Linda here. And I went out and bought myself some Arches paper. And I want you to know it's 140 pounds. It's 100% cotton. It's 9 by 12. It comes with 20 sheets, and it's absolutely amazing paper. Everything they say about Arches is true. It is really good paper. So, what I did ahead of time was, and this is cold press, which means that it has, if you're not aware, it has a little bit of some texture in the paper. It's also a block, which means that around the entire, with the exception of this area right here, it's all glued. So it has this black textured looking glue. But right now what I did, which you can't see, is that because you can't see it, is because, well, that didn't come out right. I put masking tape all around the outer edges, which is why you can't see the black tape so much, but you can see a little hint of it. Not the tape, the glue. So what I did ahead of time was I went out and I sketched a bunch of leaves, and I'm going to do some different techniques. I'm going to do wet on wet. I'm going to do wet on dry. I'm going to do some scrubbing, line work, and some lifting. You know, when you put down too much paint and you don't like that, you want to lift some of it up. So I'm also going to be using the Winsor Newton professional paints. So we have professional paper and we're using professional watercolor. So I have my watercolor right here. I'm not always going to be naming the colors, but I will try occasionally to name the colors. So I will also be using the Winsor Newton number 8, not Winsor Newton, I'm sorry, the Princeton Velvet Touch number 8 brush, one of my favorites. I have their liner brush, which is great, really great brush, number 2. Then I also have some other brushes that I may or may not be using. I don't know if you can see that. I have the Princeton. I really like this brush too. So with that, we'll get started. And the first thing I'm going to do is wet my paints. I'm going to wet my paints, really saturate them. And you want to keep a water bottle nearby. I'm just going to wet my previous paints a little bit. And wet my brush really nice. And then I'm just going to go into this drawing. Oh, and also I should have mentioned, if you wanted to, if you wanted to screenshot it, you know, you have the opportunity. I probably should have done this sooner before I started, but here it is if you want to screenshot it. Okay, so back into the water. And I'm just going to spread some water around, and you can see a little bit of what I had left on my brush from painting yesterday, which should come off. But you know what? It's not bad that you can see that. So you can see that I'm going in and I'm going to just lightly brush on some paint, some water, which has a little bit of paint in my brush, and that's okay. Okay, so we're going to go in with the sap green. And get some sap green. We're going to, looks like I had something in there. And we're going to go in with the sap green. And with the tip of my brush, I'm just going to go around and outline the leaves. What I'd also like to say is it would really truly help me. I'm truly grateful for everyone that is following my channel. And if you're new, or if you're not new, if you could hit the like and subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. It really tells YouTube that people are interested in seeing more of this particular channel. So we're going to just, and I'd like to say I'm truly grateful. I have some very nice women that have been following me. So I am on Pinterest. I'm on TikTok, Instagram. Where else am I? They don't call it Twitter anymore, it's X. Okay, and we're just going to take the water and move that extra. I have a lot of more color on the left side of this leaf, and I'm just going to blend it around. Now, although these may look realistic, I'm also going to be doing a lot of whimsical because I really enjoy that. And I'm going to add more umber. I'm just going to put a little bit of that down, and then I'm just going to let that move around, and we'll see how that develops. Okay, I'm going to go on to, well, actually, I'm going to go on to this leaf. I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm going to wet this one down. And a little bit too much water, but that's okay. When you have too much water, or you think you have too much water, you can always lift it. Okay. There we go. And now we're going to go in with I think this is Cad Red. Yep. And we're just going to bring that around. And you can see where it's moving. Really pretty color. Very pretty. And I'm just going to bring that down like that. And just follow the outline of my leaf. And maybe take some of this paint off and move it so it's just a little bit more transparent. And I just put more water on my brush and moved it around. Just using the tip of my brush. Okay, and I want to get over here. And then what I'd like to do is use some orange. Maybe bring some orange in here. Just like that. And that's going to dry much later. Okay, so let's move along. We're going to do some wet on wet here. And we'll get some olive green here. A little bit of olive green mixed with this blue. And just do the outline with the tip of your brush. And then I would like to get a little bit of this cerulean blue. I want to mix that with the green. There we go. Okay, so next I'm going to take this cerulean blue and some of the Winsor green. And I'm going to go in wet on dry. So my brush has got the wet paint, the paper is dry. I'm going to do the outline here of the leaf. And then I'm just going to pull that down. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is lift some of the paint up. So I'm going to push my brush down and just twirl it up, and you can see there's a little bit of lifting of the paint. Okay, so the next one, I'm going to go back in. I want to go over this a little bit more, like that. A little bit more of this paint. So this is wet on dry. And we're going to put a little bit more in there. Maybe get some cerulean blue. And just dab that around like that. I kind of want to go in here and do some like that. Okay, let's do the the stems. Like that, just with the tip of the brush. I'd like to just go, push some of that, make it a little bit thicker. I love what just happened. So as soon as I touch this, the green bled into the leaf. I think that's beautiful. So I'm just using the tip of the leaf and I'm just making it a little bit darker. We can always go back over it later on. There we go. And we're just going to move that down like that. Okay, I'm going to move on and go to this. So I'm going to clean off my brush, and of course there's probably going to be more color on here. Oh, now I must have gotten most of the color off. Okay, so we're going to move in like this. Wet the leaf. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. And we're going to blend that out. And we're going to get a yellow. So I'm going to use Cad Yellow. And I'm just going to go around and move that like that. And I think I'm going to add some cadmium red to this. But I want to do the outline. And it blends nicely. And then I'll add some cadmium red. Is that right? Yeah. And take some of the paint rather, off my brush and just move it around and play with it. And let the two colors blend nicely together. And just move that around. And I love the way that the paint is just blending in here. And then just bring that down. Maybe add a little bit more of that red. And just move it like that. You're just using the tip of my brush. I'm just going around like that. And there we go. And I'll put a little bit here because it's going to dry much lighter. There we go. And I'll just do very lightly, go around. There. Okay, let's move on to this one down here. So now down here, I am going to do some of this blue. I'm going to mix this in here. It's really a pretty color. This is the Winsor green blue shade. And now my paper's dry. I'm going in with a wet brush, a little bit more water, and I'm just going to outline the leaf. And there is a lot of water on my brush, so I'm going to take some of it off and move that around. I'm going to leave that like that. So we're going to go in again, and we're going to try and make it a little bit lighter. And then I'm just going to use the paint. Whoops. That's okay. It happens. Take some of that water off and just scrubbing the sides a little bit and moving that paint. And maybe just put a little bit of the orange. A little orange in there. Just with the tip of my brush, I'm just going around like that. So then what I want to do is make the, so I think I'm going to take some of this orange over here. I'm going to pick up some of this paint and mix them together, get like a muddy color, and I'm going in to do the branches, the stems. We're going to go up like this. And move that. Maybe make that a little bit thicker. Like that. Okay. Then we're going to move on. I really like the way it's bleeding into the leaf. Looks pretty. And we're going to go in here. Okay, so let me go back to this watermark. So if something like that happens, take clean water, go in like that, and then just, sometimes it lifts out real easily, sometimes it doesn't, it depends on the color. But I'm going to be doing a background on this, so I'm not too concerned about that right now. If I wasn't, I'd be very upset, but I'm not, so it's okay. So again, I'm going to wet this, and I'm going to just paint with water. And there's a little bit of paint on my brush, which is fine. It's very light, which is good. It gives you, you can get to see where I'm applying the water. And I like the technique of wet on wet. Okay, let's get in here. All right, so now we are going to do a little bit of this. I'm going to move that. A little bit of this orange. And I'm going to move it in different places. And there's a lot of paint on my brush. So in different areas, I'm going to put a lot of paint. And let's see how it comes out. Okay, now what I'm going to do is move that. Just got water on my brush, and I'm moving the paint. So I'm going to get a little bit of this paint here. Not liking that, so let's try this. Just with the tip of my brush, I'm just adding some paint here to let it bleed together. And it gets kind of like a muddy brown in some places. I like that. pick up some more of that blue. And we're going to go around this leaf like this. And just paint it in. A little bit more of that blue. And I'm just going to tap it in. And then I'm going to do that up here. Just tap it in. And it's fun, you know, you can just experiment, see how the colors blend together. And then I'm going to go over this outline here with this blue mixture. Just using the tip of the brush. Okay. And let's just darken that in a little, because we know it's going to dry much lighter. All right, I'll leave that. And let's try something different over here. We're going to get okay, this is Cad Red. All right, so what I want to do is mix that in there. I think I want to get some of the, not Cad Red, this one. Mix these colors together, get this red. I want it to be a little lighter. Well, I mixed some other colors in here. You know what? I'm just mixing. I'm going to go with it. So now I'm doing dry, wet on dry. And we're going to pull that down. So this is where we get whimsy. And I'm going to bring that up like that. And I'm going to pull some of that up. There we go. So I want some of this. And again, we're going to do wet on dry. And then we're going to bring that down. Wet my brush to take some of the paint off, and then just move it around. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with this orange. And just go over that a little. If you're still with me, I want to say thank you. I'm truly grateful. Okay. And then just move that in towards the center so you don't have like this real obvious line. You want to just blend it. There we go. And we're going to let that dry. So now we're going to try some wet on wet. So we're going to wet the paper. And we're going to pick up some of that red. I'm gonna let it just move around. And bleed. Again, we're going to, well, let's fix this outer edge. Like that, okay. Let's add a little bit, some orange to this. And we're gonna go in. Kind of muddy, but let's see how that dries. There we go. And I'm going to lift some of that. It's too much. There we go. Wetting the paper, we're going to do wet on wet. So we're going to get some of this red. And I'm just applying it neat. Like that. And there we go. So we're moving along. And maybe we'll just do a little bit of this mixture of blue-green. A real odd, an oddball is popping up. And we're going to apply this. Just bring it down. And let that kind of dry before we put anything else on. Okay, I know it looks opposite of any of the other colors. I actually kind of like it. And we're going in wet on dry. And we're just going to pull that down. And then I'm going to put a little bit of this red. And I'm going to let that bleed. A little bit more. There we go. And we're moving along. Wet my brush. I've kept some of the paint on here. And I'm going to go in here. Wet the paint. Wet the paint. Wet the paper. Take some of the paint off. And just move that around. And I'm going to put some of this yellow and blend it together. try this. And this is where we get whimsical, where we are using all different colors. And we're going in here. As you can see, I really like the wet on dry, especially with the leaves. It's nice. Okay, so let's go in with this orange. Get a little bit more water, really wet the paint. Okay. And get some yellow. That yellow in there. And just blend it together. And looking for a nice point here. There we go. And here we're going to do some wet again. Okay, and we're going to get this mixture in here. Bring it in. Get some of this and just dab it down. Let it explode and move. And get a little bit of the yellow. And do the same thing, just blot it down. Maybe come back in here. Just little dots. Maybe go in here and do some yellow on this side. It's fun to just fool around, play. Let's go back up here. Let's put a little bit of yellow in here in these leaves. I'm just dotting it around. Now this is kind of dried a little bit, so I'm going back in. I'm going to wet it. And now you can see it's a totally different look when you do that. Go in here. And just move it around. I think I'm going to leave that. Okay, so we need to do the branches. So let's get in here with some water. Wake this up. And do some branches. Stems. I'll let that bleed. Same thing. We're going to go in here. Make that a little bit thicker. And just paint these leaves in, or stems rather. Okay, let's go. Let's make these just a little bit thicker. Okay. Now, I want to give this just a few minutes to dry a little bit more, because then we're going to do the background. So I'm going to put you on pause. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is put a background. Instead of leaving it just like this white, I want to I'm going to be putting some Payne's gray behind here, and I'm going to put a variety of different shades of Payne's gray. So I'm going to wet the background. Come in here like this. Move it down. And bring it around here. Okay, so I have my palette here. I'm going to wake it up. I'm going to put some Payne's gray in here. And then I'm going to clean my brush off. Get some cerulean blue. Payne's gray is kind of like a blue anyway, but so I just like to mix the two of them together. And then I'm going to go around the leaf with the tip of my brush. Like that, and then just bring it down. Wet my brush and bring a little bit more in and let it go where it wants to go. And just move that around the leaf and the stem. And you know what I just realized I forgot to do? I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to take out my liner because I didn't do the veins, and I want to do the veins. So we'll do this right here. And then we will go back. Sorry about that. And just move that around, and then we will finish off. Go back and do the veins of the leaves. Let's bring that down here like that. Okay, my mistake. All right, let me go and get my, so here I'm going to use a Princeton 2/0, what is this, a script liner, the Velvet Touch. So I'm going to wet the brush, get a nice fine point, and wet my paints, and go in maybe with this darker color here. And I'm going to put a napkin down so that so I'm going over the pencil line now. And I'm doing, let's get that wet. You know, it's probably a little bit damp, but it's not completely dry. It takes time. It takes a few hours for the paint to really cure and dry. And I didn't use a blow dryer. I'm letting it dry naturally. And I'm going to wet this again. Wet my brush. Come in here and get the So again, if you like what I'm doing, please hit the like and subscribe button would be wonderful. I'd love to have you aboard. And let's just paint. Have some fun. Let's get over this. Do the veins. Wet my brush. As you can see, it's the brush is great for doing fine lines. And probably what would be good is to just maybe get some over here, and let me get my bigger brush, bring some out here. I want to get some, there we go. Get some more of that, bring it in here. There. I'm going to go back up here. Just bring them a little bit darker. Okay, so let's continue on. and bring out those veins. Just applying the tip of the brush. Like so. There we go. And I'm going to use that same color throughout. Okay, let's get some more. There we go. I think I'm going to add a little bit of this and move on to this. And bring it down. Bring some of this in. And some water with my brush. And then just bring it down like that. Go over that. Let's wet the brush and do that again. Okay. This is a great brush. And then okay, moving along. Let's add more water, more paint, mix that up. Let's go down here. There we go. Okay, now we're going to move over here, move it along, more water, more paint. There we go. And again, this is going to dry really lighter. So and my tray's kind of sliding down. My paints are sliding down, so I'm moving the tray up. There we go. And we're gonna that's really a pretty contrast. And there we go. Okay, so let's move along, get some more paint, and come in here. There we go. Okay. Moving along. Like so. Okay, so now we just have to go up there and wet the brush and go in. So I probably should have done this one first so I don't lean into the one I already did, but I'll be very careful. And just moving along. And like that. Okay, we might want to make that a little bit darker. There we go. Maybe a little Payne's. No, that's not Payne's, is it? Okay. That's okay. Okay, we're gonna go over here. Maybe a little bit of Payne's. Too much. Let's see what happens. And okay, let's go over these. I kind of like that. Moving along. And then come around here. Okay, I think we're good. I think I may just go over this. There. Okay, I think it's looking okay. So now we're going to go back and finish the Payne's gray. So I'm going to go back in here, put some water, and let's see how this comes out. So we're just wetting the paper. We're grabbing some of our Payne's gray, and we're going in there. And we're going to be adding some other colors on top of this once we get this in. And then with the tip of the brush, just go around carefully. And add that color. So I'm using my Payne's gray mixture of, well, I'm using my palette with Payne's gray mixture of Payne's gray and, what did I say it was? Cerulean blue. We're just going to go around that like that. Okay, and then we're going to come back up to the top, wet it down, and we're going to go around the leaf with the water mixture that will, it's diluted like that. And we're going to bring that down with the tip. And we're going to go around. Okay, and then we're going to bring that Payne's gray in the mixture. And let that bleed. Let that go around. And look how pretty that looks. Okay, so now we're going to continue up here. With our wet brush that has some paint on it, which is fine. And we're just going to bring some water. I'm going to wet the paper. And I'm not concerned that there's paint on it because I'm using that color, so it's giving it like a light wash. And I'm going down around here. Okay, here we go. So we're going in, and we're going to go around like that with the tip of the brush. And just love the way that bleeds. And then we're going to go over here and just outline it. And like that. There. So here we go in again. I'm going to wet the brush. We're going to keep some of the paint on our brush because that's the color we're going to use. Now, of course, if this wasn't the color that I was going to use, I'd make sure my brush was clean. But there we go. And we're going to go around this leaf with water. And then here we go. We're going to drop in the Payne's Gray. And I'm going to go around it. And we're getting different shades, which is exactly what I want. And you know, it takes time. There's no reason to rush. And we're just going to go around that again. And then just fill that in. Okay, so I'm going to get some more Payne's Gray. Clean off my brush. Add some cerulean blue. Some water. Mix it together. Now I know I'm doing wet on dry, but I'm going to keep going. And in here I want to try to eliminate the white. Okay, so now we're going to just carefully go inside. I think I'm going to make this area lighter, just like this. And the same thing in here. There we go. Now we're going to come down here and we're going to wet the paper. And come in with some of our paint. With the tip of your brush, just go, up to the leaf. And then spread that. Move that around. Get some Payne's Gray Neat and just give it a little texture. Okay, now we're going to come back to the top. And I know that, again, I know that there's paint on my brush. That's okay. I'm just going to wet this down. Coming closer to the, so when you come close to your edges that you're working on, just use the point of your brush and just take your time. Okay, so now this is kind of drying, so I want to get some paint in there. And of course I'm going to have to mix up some more, so let's get some more paint. Clean off my brush, get that cerulean, and add some water, and here we go. I'm going in close to the edge, and now I'm going to blend that and move it around. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And then just move that around. And bring that down here. There we go. Okay, so let's go over here and wet this side down. Let's get around this brush, leaf. And very carefully with the tip of my brush, I will come in, and now I will bring that paint up. Let it move. Like that. And bring that down. Like that. Now we're just dragging the paint around. And we're going to come in here with water and some leftover paint on your brush and just move that around. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Bringing a lot of water in. And then I'm going to drop in the paint. And I'm going to move it around. And the same thing in here. And let it just move around. Okay, wet water on the brush, and we're over here. Coming around. Okay. There we go. going to do that. Then we're going to come to the top and bring in some water. Bring it around. Like that. And drop in some paint. Let's get some more paint. Let's mix that up. Some water. Get some water. And just drop it in. And we're just dropping it in. Like that. Now this is wet on dry. And we'll go in here. There we go. Okay, let's go in here and wet this down. And get some paint. That's an awful lot of water. So we're going to take some of that water. I'm going to move it over here. And I'm going to move it over here. Down here. Fill some of that water up. And then just drop some color in there. There we go. And as you can see over here, it gets so much lighter. Okay, I'm just going to do wet on dry over here. And I'm going to pick up some of the Payne's gray, and I'm going to just put it in full strength right in here. Then I'm going to wet my brush and move it. Let's get some water. And move that around. Pick up some Payne's gray and move that. We're going to add another color to this here and there. Okay. Not liking the way this is, so I'm going to pull some of that up. And down like that. Let's pull some of that up. There we go. Okay, and then we're just gonna put a little bit more. Let's get this. Okay, now we're going to come down here. And we're going to move that. Like that. And I'm really liking the way that this is drying with that, and then just, okay, let's come in here. Just with the tip. And then drop down some of the Payne's Gray mixture. Let that burst out. And it looks like we need more. And we're going to get some water in here. Again, some cerulean. Mix it together. And then I'm going to move in here. So now I'm doing wet on dry. And come down here. There we go. So what I want to do is go back in here and just dot around. Make another. Okay, we need to go in here, which I'm going in with some of my paint. And go in here just with the tip. There we go. Okay, just when you think you're done, you're not. There's always more that you can add to your paintings. You'll come back, you'll look at it. So I'm going to go in here, just add a little bit more paint. Like that. And then just blend that in. Okay, I want to look at this, and I'm just going to scrub it out. I'm not crazy about that. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is kind of look at this. I want this to not stop drastically. I want things to kind of blend. Like that. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do next is really clean off my brush. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I want to add the Alizarian Crimson or Rose. So let's go in with some cleaner water. Let's get this one. I think it's this one. Yeah. So what I want to do, I really should have done some clean water and just move that around. Add a little of that. Okay, so let's get some clean water. Let's go up here. And we're going to just drop that in. Like that. Just in different areas. So we'll go over here. And get some of that. Just drop it in. Add some water, go in here, the corner, and not everywhere, just some places. So a little bit of, let's do this corner. Let's do, oops, sorry about that. Just where you have the lighter shades, let's go in here and do like that. I'm right here. Some lighter shades. Let's go in here where it's let's lift some of this out. Let me get my tissue, and I'm going to go over here, change water, and just do some lifting. And I'm going to put a little bit of water in here. And then I'm going to drop it down. And same in here. Just very lightly. Get some water. And blend it. And then what's nice is to stand back and see what you have here. And I think, you know, sometimes you can just do too much and it doesn't look good. Let's take some of that. Off. Okay, I think I'm going to call it done. And I know that there's more that can be done, but I'm truly grateful for anyone that's been watching me, who's been following my channel. I know I've been doing a lot of different things, and watercolor is my main love, so that's where I'm heading. I'm thinking about doing some journals with some of the paintings that I do, and then I'll probably put them up on Etsy. So anyway, thank you so much if you are following me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, follow me, hit the notification button, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.